James Gunn admits the blip has made it really hard for Marvel to keep making good movies. Something has been off with Marvel Studios in the post-Avengers, Endgame era. Uncertainty for Phases 4 and 5 undertakings haven't yet achieved the ranks they were at during the initial 3 stages, and lovers of the franchise have dispersed an excessive portion of time attempting to deduce the problem. Some have said that too much of Phase 4 was finished presenting new characters such as Moon Knight, the Eternals, Kate Bishop, Shang-Chi, Kamala Khan, and Kong the Conqueror. But James Gunn, who understands telling a story in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, has said that a narrative option makes MCU storytelling challenging. James Gunn plans to wrap up his narrative in the MCU with this summer's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the conclusion of his trilogy that will present Adam Warlock, played by Will Poulter. The Guardians will reunite Gamora, played by Zoe Saldana, with her family and examine Rocket's history. Gunn is bringing his talents to DC Studios, where he'll act as co-CEO with producer Peter Safran and become the writer and direct Superman: Legacy. In a comprehensive discussion with Rolling Stone, Gunn spoke about the MCU and his rationale for why Phases 4 and 5 narratives may be stumbling. He explained, "I really want Marvel to keep making good movies. I think it's really hard in the wake of the blip. There's this worldwide, universe-wide event that happened. And in truth, everybody would be stark raving mad at this point. So it's hard to write stories in the wake of that. Which is why the Guardians movies have been easier, because they're set outside of that a little bit." The blip has stood the trigger for a handful of narratives in the MCU. The blip directs to the moment when half of the planet's people vanished for 5 years due to the snap, made by Thanos while sporting the Infinity Gauntlet. Thor, frankly, should have gone for the head when he had his chance. One of the earlier Phase 4 undertakings, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, concentrated laboriously on a political community that thought life was more acceptable during the blip. And the repercussions of the blip are consistently felt to this day. Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd, is still regarded as he lost so much while with his teenage daughter, Cassie, played by Catherine Newton, growing up. At the same time, he was stuck in the quantum realm, driving him to construct a deal with Kong, played by Jonathan Majors in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Spider-Man, Far From Home played it for chuckles, like when one of his classmates was now 5 years older and more handsome when all Peter's companions returned to the MCU. But the blip also makes continuity nightmares, so Marvel performers and directors often get questioned about whether or not specific characters blipped away and how the MCU is driving it. WandaVision had a passionate, wrenching juncture when Monica Rambeau, played by Diana Paris, returned from the blip to find out that, in her absence, her weak mother Maria had passed. Gunn's right that the blip has generated some headaches, which may be why everyday audiences alter their indecision on checking out MCU narratives. It might even be the idea of the multiverse, which can be disconnected and estranged to non-comic masses. We'll catch how Guardians 3 does when it arrives in theaters, but deliver awareness to the Marvels now that it has been postponed to let breathing space between MCU projects and create expectations. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is out May 5, 2023. Well, that's it for now. Until next time, venture onward. Thank you for listening.